Discord. Ty, I see your message in the chat about Carvana, Micron, and Avgo. I got you. Let me throw this link to our free Discord in here for you all. Also, if you're interested in the paid Discord, just hang around a little bit afterwards, and we can give me 1 second, and we can get that situated for you. So let me grab this link for you really quick. This takes 2 seconds. Get this Discord link. Boom. All right, cool. That's the free Discord link. Oh, we got more people trying to join. Cool. All right. Let me share my screen. Let's do the entire screen this time. I'm not using my monitor. All right. So the first thing that I like to do when I'm prepping for my week, a lot of people ask, how do I prep for my week? When I'm prepping for my week, the first thing I like to do is check out the economic calendar. The reason why I check out the economic calendar is because it's really, it's the guide to the week, right? So you go to TradingView. I can do it again. You go to TradingView. You just hit the ladder, go down to products, and then you want calendars, and they have all types of calendar: economic, earnings, dividend, IPO. But I just want to go to the economic calendar. And again, this is just something I check on Sundays. I don't normally check this throughout the week because it's pretty stagnant. And then I like to see, okay, what days do we have major, reports coming out on? And then also, if you want to, because sometimes these lists can get long for the days. Like you can see Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are pretty long. You can turn on this only high importance, but sometimes I like to turn it on and turn it off because sometimes you may miss a little small something that could impact your day, especially if you're day trading or you're doing short-term option trades. So this week we got on Monday, we got consumer inflation expectations. So we'll see how that goes. That comes out at 11 o'clock on Monday. That's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard. We turn on the only high importance. We don't have anything major. So I'll leave that on. Tuesday, we do have the job openings. So this is going to be interesting. The forecast and the prior are right around each other. So we'll see what happens Tuesday. Jobs and inflation has been a major driver of the market, sending the market either up or down. And then this is the one you circle on your calendar. This is the whole point of looking at the economic calendar. We do have the Fed's interest rate decisions, the Fed economic projections. FOMC is just related to the Feds, and then we have the Fed press conference. So Wednesday, I will be live inside the Discord. I'll be live starting at 9 a.m. Because this is going to be a big one. This is going to decide, do we get that rally? Again, a lot of people have been asking me, do we get the rally? Do we get the Santa rally? Is what people, people who trade coin the term as, which a Santa rally is just a run up into the end of the year around Christmas, right? So do we get that? We get a sign. We get a sign on Wednesday at 2 o'clock. So Wednesday, 2 o'clock, we get the Fed interest rate decisions. If you haven't been keeping up with it, the Feds have cut rates by 0.25% twice. They promised us 3 cuts. So you can see that the prior was 4%. The forecast is 3.75%. So we get a 0.25% rate cut. This is what's being forecast. There's been a lot of back and forth saying that we may get it, we may not get it. So a lot of people are just kind of on the fence. Gerald is saying, can anyone else hear it? Can you all hear me? I hope I haven't been talking this whole time. Okay, I got a sea of thumbs up. Okay, Gerald, yeah, Gerald, you may want to leave and then come back. Or if you're connected to your monitor, switch it over to your device speaker. I have that issue all the time. But yeah, all right, so Fed's interest rate decision, again, they've been cutting rates, which has been a good thing for the market, right? But I don't think that there's a lot of things happening, don't get me wrong, but I think the biggest thing is going to be, the 2 biggest things is going to be the FOMC economic projections. I think that's bigger because they already told us we were getting 3 rate cuts. This is the 3rd rate cut, but I want to know what it looks like going into 2026. How many rate cuts do we get? Is it what they predicted? Are they going to pull their prediction in? Are they going to lay it that's going to be what really drives the market. So I think a lot of people have been relying on, okay, do we get the rate cut or not? No, we're probably going to get the rate cut. I don't think that we're not going to get it. There's been a little back and forth, but I think we're going to get the rate cut. But again, the bigger thing is going to be how many rate cuts do we get next year? Like this year is pretty much over. We're going to get this one. How many do we get next year? So if anything is off with this economic projection, then the market could be pulling back. Also, we have the Fed press conference. If you've never seen one of these, you need to. If you're an investor and you plan on building a portfolio for a long time, or you plan on trading for a long time, whatever your scheme is, you still need to watch these Fed press conferences, because the Feds are in control of our money, and the Feds pretty much tell you the lay of the land when it comes to the market. They also talk about inflation and jobs and how important it is to the market. So at 2:30 p.m., Jerome Powell is going to be speaking, and what people are going to be listening to is how he's approaching the situation that we're in. There's been a lot of issues with data coming out, the government withholding things, and all of the government was shut down for like 40 something days. There's going to be a lot. So Wednesday, for me, is going to be a risk off day. Wednesday, I'm waiting to play after the decision. Normally Wednesdays, I live trade 9 a.m. Market opens at 9:30. We try to find some runners. We get in, a quick day trade or two, and then we're good. And then after that, it's just pretty much swing trades and long-term investing. But Wednesday, circle it on your calendar. It is risk off. I am paying attention to the Fed decision rate, and then the economic projection, and then the press conference. So all this stuff is happening back to back, 2 and 2:30. So pretty much from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, the market is going to be on ice, just watching to see what's going on with this. And we're just going to try to figure out which way the market is going to go. Also, if you've never traded on a day like this, getting closer to 2 o'clock, I'm warning you, from 12 to about 1 o'clock, the market is going to start to pull back. Why does that happen? Well, anytime the market goes into a period of uncertainty, even if it's just for a Fed conference, the market starts to pull back. People are pulling shares. People are selling shares, right? So that means that the market goes down because people are unsure. People are like, well, I don't know which way this is going to go, and I'm up 100% on this trade. We got someone trying to join. 1 second. All right, so someone may say, hey, I've been holding this trade for a minute. I'm up 100%. And I don't want to, lose my money. So they'll take it before a lot of people are thinking the same thing. So again, Wednesday, circle that on your calendar. Thursday, we do have PPI, which is related to inflation again. So that's on Thursday, but that happens before the market even opens. That happens Thursday at 8:30 a.m. And then Friday, we have nothing major scheduled. Let me turn this off. See if we have anything hidden. We got a whole bunch of Fed speakers on Friday, but they're not Jerome Powell. Again, the biggest data of the week, if you're looking for something, is going to be Wednesday. Tuesday is important too. Job openings is important. But yeah, so pretty much after Monday is going to be a rocky week. We got 3 inflation or job or Fed reports in a row, and then Friday we could get to we could get to safe ground depending on what's happening. So that's what I like to do to set up for my week. It's just, scan again. And when I'm scanning these reports, what I'm looking for is anything that says Feds first. Like this is number 1, FOMC or Feds, market shifting stuff. The next thing I'm looking for is inflation or job openings, which we have all 3 this week. We got Feds Wednesday, we got inflation Thursday, and then we got job openings Tuesday. So these are the things that I'm paying attention to. All right, let's move over to the S&P 500 just to get a good gauge of the market and see where we are going. All right, let me scrunch it up a little bit. I'm gonna adjust my MA ribbon a little bit. All right. Also, if you're looking at this chart and you do not know how to read it, or you having issues with reading the chart and you want to learn how to read charts, we do have a session on Saturdays for beginners where we go over candlesticks, charts, indicators, support, resistance, the whole 9. So if you have an issue with that, I recommend Saturdays. And whatever platform you came through, we do have links for that. So if you came through Meetup or you came through Eventbrite, there are links that there are links to those sessions on Saturdays. And then for those, I know some people in here that came for options. We have an option class on Wednesdays, at Wednesday night at 8 p.m. If you're interested in that, stay a little bit afterwards. I give you more details on how that works. And then what else? I think that's it for right now. I do have some more information on the $1,000 small challenge coming out this week. So stay posted for that. I'll be posting that this week. I know a lot of people were interested in the challenge when I posted it in the Discord. Had a whole bunch of lifestyle stuff that I had to handle personally, but now we should be now I should have the time to get everything straightened out. So the 1K challenge is on. Again, be on the lookout for information on that this week. All right, RSI. Let's start. So we're looking at the S&P 500 on the daily time frame. Again, I look at the S&P 500 to get a good feel of where we're going for the week. The RSI is at 60. I'm looking at this number here in the purple. Again, it can get up to 70. So a 60 RSI is telling me that the market has slowly been recovering from this bottom. We had a bottom at we got Mark. If you can let the other person in, I appreciate it. The market has been recovering from, appreciate that, Mark, from this 651 drop that we had, and we're going back. It could, so we're at a situation to where we've been testing these highs on the S&P 500. We have highs around, all-time highs around like 689, 690 on a wick. We touched about 688, and then we pulled all the way back down to 685 for a rejection. But we can see that the SPY is starting to try to make a flag. One thing that we need to do, we actually need to break above this 690 and actually hold. So no wicks in this area. Again, if everything goes right Wednesday, we should be good. This is one thing that I think that is going to happen. I think that we may get some smaller candles, because last week we really didn't get any price action. The price action that we expected. The volume was kind of dry last week. And the SPY barely moved. Like the SPY started the week. What is this? Friday, Thursday. Where's Monday yet? Monday is right here. The SPY started the week at like 678, 679, and ended at 685. So in 5 days, it went up pretty much like $1 or $2 per day, which normally the SPY can move up more than that. So we'll see what happens here. We're testing around all-time highs. And then if we look at the other indicators, we can see that on the MACD, we already crossed over to the upside. We do have some buying pressure. You can see how green it is on the histogram. You can also see how the blue line on top of the orange line tells us that the buying pressure is dominant. And then if we look at the stochastic RSI, we can see that we're at 99, and you can see what happens every time the stochastic RSI. Mark, you can let that person in as well. I know you've been watching that name. I've been watching the name too. We'll monitor that one. But yeah, so 99 on the stock RSI. This is our momentum indicator. So it kind of makes sense why last week the momentum on the S&P 500 was slow, because the momentum indicator is pretty much peaked out on the daily time frame. It's at 99 out of 100. Also, you notice what happens once we hit 100 on the stochastics is that eventually it cools down. So again, our upwards momentum is tapped. We're pretty much at 100. It doesn't mean that the stock can't move up. It just means that the pace that it moves up may just be a slow and gradual grind up instead of like a spike up, right? But again, eventually this has to cool off. We got a 99 stochastics. We can see the last time we had a 99 stochastics, this was what, October 29th. And then we came all the way down for a cool off. And then before that, we had September 22nd. We came all the way down for a cool off. So it looks like we got a lot that's going to be interesting this week. Hopefully the SPY can break above and hold 690 before the Fed meeting. If the SPY is struggling to break above 690 before the Fed meeting, we could be pulling back. If we pull back, I don't see us breaking any lower than 680 before the end of the week. If we break that 680, we could be coming down to 675, which is around my 20-day moving average. So we'll see what we get. But again, I got 680 if we pull back, which is $5 from where we are now. And if we pull back lower than that, then I have the 675. So I got about a $5 increment pullback. And if we can break that 690, then I got us just pushing up to 700. If we break 690 and hold, the Fed meeting goes well, you know, the information at 2:30 after the Fed meeting goes well, then we should be pushing towards 700, and that will be a good test for the S&P, because a lot of people are watching out for that 700 level going into 2026. If I slightly move it back to the 4 hour, we can see a little bit more. We got 63 on the RSI here. We do have, you can see a little bit more of that rejection. Again, the 4 hour means that we're just chopping those daily candles in half. A day is normally about 7 hours and 30 minutes to 8 hours. The 4 hour is just chopping that in half. So we can see we got a rejection here at 688. And then we can go down to the MACD and see that we've been losing buying pressure on the 4 hour for a second, right? We've been losing buying pressure since the 1st of December. Again, because the stock has just pretty much just been trading sideways and trading slow. Also, we can see the stochastics on the 4 hour has been cooling. We can see that it was pinned at 99 at one point, came down to 89, went up to about 99 again, and then came back down to 91 to where we are today. So the 4 hour is saying that there could be some additional cooling and a pullback. And then the day is saying that, hey, again, it looks like it's a slow grind up. We still got space on the RSI, but the stochastic is maxed out. So our momentum is kind of maxed out on 2 time frames. We get to see this week again. If those reports are going to make or break the market this week. So you're going to see a lot of conversation around those reports when they come out. Again, the key to the week is going to be Wednesday, but Tuesday's inflation report is important, but Wednesday is going to be the main driver. With that being said, that's all I have. Again, this is how I like to just prep for the week. Well, this is one way I prep for the week, is checking the S&P 500 to see where we are and where we could be, and then also to check the economic calendar just to see if there's anything about the Fed's inflation or jobs. If there's any report about those 3, circle it. Any questions before I pass it off to Mark? Okay, cool. I got a thumbs down. I appreciate that, Anna. No questions. All right, cool. Thanks, Keith. All right, so I'm going to pass it off to Mark so he can cover his picks, his dividend picks for the week.
All right, perfect. I appreciate it. 1 second to share my screen. All right, so I got a couple of dividend picks for this week. As always, a lot of my dividend picks that I'm giving you all are coming from the Dividend Kings website. So Dividend Kings are any companies that's been selling or been completing dividends for the past 50 years. So these companies are reputable, and they've been increasing their dividend payments for the past 50 years. So the first one that we're going to talk about is MGE Energy. And looking at the chart, they're setting up to where they're establishing their bottom. So this is potentially a good place to go ahead and start buying into them. If we was to draw our support lines and resistance, we can start here at current price is $78.66. We can draw our support right here at about beneath it. So the next level of support would be here at about 74. So if it continues to go down this week, we could be seeing MGE get to about $74, $75, which would be a good time to go ahead and start to open up a position. With dividend stocks, you want to make sure that you're finding companies that are reputable, they can withstand the test of time, and also you want to buy these companies when they're at a discounted price. So we've seen previously that this company has been going for $105, and right now they're selling for $78. So this is a good time to go ahead and start to open up a position. I'm not saying to put, let's say you want to invest $100, don't invest the full 100, just invest $20, $25 of it and see what it does. And if it goes down more, then you can go ahead and buy more of that stock so that you can average down your costs. But right now, this is a good time to go ahead and get into this company because they're pretty low. If we look at the RSI level, it's pointing down. It's at about, I can't even see it. It's not letting me see it. I'm gonna say that's probably about like 30, 35 maybe on the RSI. Oh, it's right here. Yep, 38 on the RSI level. Stochastic RSI is also low. It's getting to that oversold region. And we know with the stochastic level, anytime it hits 0, it's going to start to try to get to 100. So it's on its way to 0. Once it hits 0, then again, it's going to start to try to get back to this 100 range. And vice versa. If it's at 100, it's going to try to get to 0. If we also look at so we drew our support line. Let's draw a resistance. So If this stock was to start going up, the first place is going to come and test is going to be this 20-week moving average, which is sitting at about $84. So if this stock was to go up, we could see it get to 84, and then we could see it start to have some type of resistance at that level, and we could see it start to try to pull back. So right now it's trading in between two ranges. So all I'm waiting for is for it to establish its bottom. Again, I'm thinking 74, 75 is going to be its bottom. And once it hits that level, that's when you'll start to open up your position. But that's when I'll start to look to get into my position. And then from that point, because they're paying dividends, I'm treating this as a long-term investment. So as far as it going up and where it's going to get to, I'm not quite concerned with that because I know overall it's going to be trending upwards. It may take a while for it to get back to 105, but overall it's going to be trending back up to 105. And I'm just here for the dividend payment. So every time they're paying these dividends, and it's quarterly, so every 4 months you're going to receive a dividend payment, or excuse me, every 3 months you're going to receive a dividend payment, and I'll just reinvest that back into the company. So whatever I'm getting paid is getting reinvested right back into that company. Any questions on MGE? All right. So the next one is Middlesex Water Company. This is a water company. They also pay dividends. They're another company that's on the Dividend Kings list. This company pays, go down a little bit, 2.66% dividend payments. So whatever the price is that you're investing, you can just times that by the percentage, and you'll know how much you'll be receiving when you receive the dividend payment. So it's not a lot. Again, dividend payments a lot of times won't make you rich over time with just a little investment. You'll have to invest a lot to start to see those huge dividend payments. But dividend payments are always a great way to use the compound interest or snowball effect. So you'll buy a share, and if you turn on the recurring investment, all those dividend payments that you're receiving will make your shares and make your ownership of the company bigger and bigger over time without you having to actually keep investing into it. So this company currently at $51.91. It looks like they established their bottom a few weeks ago. We can say it's here at about $48. So that's their bottom. If we look at the chart, we see that stochastic RSI level hit that 0. It's starting to try to point up. It wants to get back to 100. RSI level is at about 44, I want to say. Yeah, it's at about 44. It's pointing upwards. So that's a good indication that we have that upward momentum that we want to see. For me personally, this is a good opportunity to go ahead and get into my position. If I wanted to buy a position here, I will be getting it now. We see even previously, this $48 range was its bottom. Anytime it tested this level, we see increases in the price. Even back here, it came down, tested this level, it shot up, came back, tested it again, and it started to go back up. So this is a strong level of support, excuse me. So what I'm thinking is this is just going to bounce off of it and try to trend back upwards. Where can it get to? First level is probably going to be, I'm going to say this moving average. If it can get above these moving averages, then we'll be seeing it get to 59. And if it breaks there, we'll be seeing it get to 66. And again, long-term holds, this is a good time. You're buying it at a discounted price. We can see that if we scroll back. This stock has once been, back in 2022, was worth $120. It is now at $48. And they've been raising their dividend payments through the entire thing. Again, it's a water company, so it just may not be the time to invest in. It just probably hasn't been the time to invest in these companies, but at a price like $48, this is a good time to go ahead and open up a position. You don't got to do a huge position, but just buying a few shares can help you in the long term when you're investing, and especially for the dividend payments. Anything on Middlesex? They also pay dividends quarterly as well. So every 3 months, you're going to be receiving a dividend payment from them. And they've been, again, increasing that. Every bad earnings report they've had, they've still been increasing their dividend payments. So that's a good sign to invest for the dividends. Let's see here. Nothing. Perfect. All right. One more. KMB. Kimberly Clark Cooperation. So this is another company paying dividends, a Dividend King. Their dividend payments, you're going to be receiving 4.86% per share that you've invested. So nice little dividend payment, percentage wise. They also pay it quarterly. So every 3 months, you'll be receiving a dividend payment. And right now, it just looks like from on the weekly chart, this is the bottom. We see it hit zero, and now it's starting to point up. It's trying to get back to that 100 range. And it also looks like it's been testing a support level. So these past few weeks, we see it's been trading around 102, the 102 range. We scroll back, we can even see that this was a range of support and resistance previously. So that's a nice strong level. So if it bounces off of this level, where can it go? The first place it's going to go, it's going to come and try to test this 110. So previously back here, we see it tested 110, it tested 110 here. If we come back, we have a lot of tests on 110. So this is a strong level of support, resistance. If it breaks above this resistance level, then we're going to be seeing it start to turn back to that 20-day moving average, which is currently at about 120. So we can potentially see it get to 120 if it breaks 110. Again, looking at the indicators, once that RSI level starts to point upwards, that stochastic will also be going up, and it will be getting closer and closer to a MACD crossover to the upside. So if you wanted to wait for to also confirm that this is the bottom, you can wait until you get closer on the MACD crossover to where the blue line, which is my buying pressure, is getting closer to crossing over my orange line, which is my selling pressure. Anytime the blue line crosses above the orange line, that's signifying the uptrend. So we see back here, blue line crossed above the orange line, which was right here. And if we use that in correlation with the chart, we can see the stock price was going up in value. Do I have any questions? Perfect. So yeah, so all I'm waiting for is for it to reject this 102. For me personally, rejecting 102 is going to signify, okay, this is going to start to go up. Because I'm not trying to just trade it just purely off of the profits and getting the best bang for my dollar, I'm looking to more sort of invest in this company. I think 102, this 102 range is a good buy-in for it. This is a discounted price for me. It could get lower, but again, I'm not going to invest everything into it. You only invest a little bit, and you over time buy more if it dips, so that you can average down your investment price. But yeah, if I don't have any questions, let me double check the chat. Yep, we're good. I'll go ahead and pass it back off to Ladarius so you can go over his stocks for the week.
All right, cool. I appreciate that, Mark. All right. Let me get my screen pulled up. Always good to look at some dividend plays, because after you make you make money on your options or your day trades or whatever else you're doing, it's always good to figure out a place to park your money where it can grow, just grow in the background without you needing to do too much. Someone raise their hand.
Yeah, that was me. Next week, I'll talk about the Tesla dividend payment, because they had a reverse split, and it kind of messed up my put option. So I got to take a look at that. Like I just been pulling that off. But yeah, I'll have an update on the Tesla with the reverse split for that next week.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that would be a good one. Yeah, that Tesla has been doing fine. We can actually look at Tesla. Let me bring up Tesla as a stock. Appreciate the reminder, Mark. Those that hopped in with us. Okay, cool. Let me share my screen. Do the entire screen. Boom. All right. So I have a few stocks for us to look at. I will be adding more to this list. So the stocks we're going to be looking at today is Google, NVIDIA, SoFi, Copper, United Airlines, and Tesla. All right. So Google, Google has been one of the best performing top 20 or the best performing top 10 stock on the year. Just killing it. And right now it looks like Google has been cooling down. Google was on a crazy run. Again, we can see where it was skating above this 20-day moving average and went and hit this high around 128, 129 at this level. And then we got a support bounce around 314. So this week, what I'm watching for is to see if Google is going to test that 328.75. If Google tests the 328.75, we could see a breakout. And again, since Google is a top 10 stock in the S&P 500, this is good to pair with the S&P. So if you're wondering, again, like I said in the beginning of the week, I'm looking at the S&P 500 to see which way it's moving. If the S&P breaks and goes up to that 690 level, Google's going to be going up to this 328 as well. Google's probably going to break that 328, and Google's also making this bull flag. So the bull flag starts at 290, goes up to about 330. So Google, honestly, if Google can sustain this flag, we can see Google in the 350 to 360. I won't say 370 range because that'll take too long, and we'll be into early 2026, which there's going to be a lot of things happening there. But Google, again, 328.75 is what I'm watching for the week on the daily time frame. The RSI is high, is at 70 on the daily time frame, so super high. We do have a pending MACD crossover to the downside. We can see that the buys have been getting weaker. Also, your MACD gets weaker as the stock trades sideways. So we can see that we've had some selling pressure to where it was, running straight up, hit this point at 328, came down and kind of just settled at 314 for a while before moving up to 322. It was days where the market was going up. Let me move this out the way. The market was going up and Google was going down. So Google was starting to slowly recover. Again, had a crazy run to the upside. Now it's selling off. And then we got the stochastic at 63 pointing down, but this could slowly start to point up. So normally what I teach my mentees is that, hey, if you look at the daily time frame and you can't get a good picture of what the stock is going to do for the week, shift back one time frame and see if you can see it then. So we can go back to the 4 hour and then we can get a better picture of, okay, what's happening. So now we look at the 4 hour, we got a 66.90 in purple for the RSI. So it's not as bad as the 70, still up there, but not as bad as the 70. We get a better picture of what these candles look like. So in the last 3 candles, we've had green candles, and we can see that now, okay, cool. Before we go up to 328.75, we really need to break this 323, 324 range. So if Google goes up about $2 and holds, then we should be going back up to 328 and moving higher. As we look at it, we can see that now the MACD, it has some selling pressure. The MACD is crossed over, but the buying pressure is slowly starting to build up. And then if we look at the stock RSI is all the way down here at 19. And the stock RSI is that number right there in the blue. And this can get all the way back up to 100. So it's an interesting setup, right? You got the 4 hours saying that, hey, this could go higher under conditions. And then you got the day saying this could go higher under conditions, but it's almost tapped, right? Again, you got that pending MACD crossover. So it's two possible outcomes for what we're going to have this week. So we can either, let me show you. We can either make this bull flag, which is the strong move up. I'm just drawing the direction. We came down and we get another breakout to the upside, or we make this strong move up, come down and hit the top of this level and then come down again for a double top. So we're in a position to where, let me erase that. We're in a position to where this could either be a double top or a bull flag. So if you know me, if you've been in any of my live trading sessions, or if you've been in one of my mentee sessions as well, you know that I like confirmation before I enter a trade. Confirmation for me to either side is going to be 328 top side for a breakout, 314 to the bottom side, 314 to the bottom side for a breakdown, right? If it hits this 314 and it closes below and it starts to sink, then we can see Google go all the way back down to 300. That means we could play some puts under 314, or we can play some calls above 328. The worst thing that I think that can happen this week is that tomorrow the market opens, you see Google at 322, you take calls, Google goes up to 328. You can get a little bit of profit. Don't get me wrong. That's $6 of profit. And if you're trading options, that could be a lot of money. If you're scalping, could be a lot of money, just depending on how many shares you grab. But we don't know how harsh that rejection could be at 328. You could hit 328 and it just shoots all the way back down through at 314, because again, RSI is high. It is overbought technically on the day and pretty much overbought at 66, 67 on the 4 hour. So we got to be careful here to not break that 314 level to the downside. So again, Google is one of the most popping stocks right now. So that's why I added it as #1 on my list. But these are the levels that I'm watching on Google. Any questions? And let me flip over to the chat. Any questions on Google? Cool. All right, let's keep moving. All right, next one, we got NVIDIA. All right, so a lot of people have been asking me about this one. We got NVIDIA setting up a pretty decent setup. There's a few things I don't like on the chart, and there's a few things I do like on the chart. So we'll see. We got the RSI at 47, right here in the purple, which again, if you know me, I like 45 to 55 pointing up. So we kind of got the RSI like going sideways, being pretty even between 45 and 50, it looks like. So that's decent. And then if we look at the candles, we can see, and I'm gonna zoom in on this, we can see that the candles, again, this is the daily time frame. So every single candle represents a day. We can see that NVIDIA dropped down to 173, bounced up and hit this level at 184. And we can see that this yellow line right here has been giving NVIDIA some problems. So if I hide my orange line, let me clean this chart up a little bit for you all. Let me take my 50 MA away for just a second and just look at this yellow line. We look at this yellow line. This is the 20-day moving average. It has been struggling to get back above its 20-day moving average. We can see here on Tuesday, the 2nd, it went all the way up midday. It hit this 185.96, and then it came back down, right? Went up to 185, 186, came all the way back down to 181. The next day, we got a red candle. The next day after that, so this is Wednesday, Thursday, it went up again. Boom, hit that the 20-day moving average at 184, 185, and then it came down a little bit, right? It came down to 183. The next day, it hit so it hit this line about 3 or 4 times, right? Hit the line again, and then it came down again. So we keep rejecting off this 20-day moving average. So it's simple to see. This is what I got for NVIDIA this week. It needs to get above this 184. This has been a level that I've been watching for the longest. And if you are good with support and resistance, you can see that this also lines up with a level of resistance. We can see that this was a level. If I have my MA ribbon and I just plot my level, we can see that that line, even if you look back here, NVIDIA had an issue breaking up above this 183 level back in July, right? Went up, hit it in July, came down, went up in July. It tested this line about 5 or 6 times in August, and then it dropped on this giant red candle. Then it went back up late August, early September, dropped again, went back up in late September, dropped again. So you can see that this 183 to 185 gives NVIDIA problems, and it has been all year. So this is what I want to see this week is, okay, what are we going to do with this line? Because this 20-day moving average is downward sloping, right? So it is coming to the downside, and it's getting lower and lower and lower. And it continues to push NVIDIA, lower and lower. So either we got to overtake this 20-day moving average, or we're going to sit here long enough for the bulls to eventually get tired, and it's going to push us back down to this 173. So this is what I have for NVIDIA this week. We need to close a candle, not the middle of the day, get above it. We need, at the end of the day, we need to be above our 20-day moving average. Right now, that number is right here in yellow at 184.47. We need to be above that. Honestly, you ask me, we need to be above both of them. Get us above 187 and out of there. Because if not, we're going to have some issues here. And NVIDIA, as you know, is the biggest stock in the S&P 500. It controls about 8% of the S&P 500. And whatever NVIDIA decides to do, especially if it's a sharp move to either side, it can carry the market with it, right? So if NVIDIA decides to just tank, the market's going to tank, or the S&P is going to tank, which that's what I'm referring to as the market. If NVIDIA spikes and blows past both of these moving averages, cool, we're good to go. But this is what I'm watching for this week. If I look at the indicators are telling me like, hey, the MACD looks decent. We got a pending MACD crossover. We've been having a lot of selling pressure just fade, and a lot of buying pressure come in. So if we can get this MACD crossover with a 47 RSI, then we should be good for a breakout to shoot us back above this 184, 187 range. And then we could be lining up for another test at this 185 that we rejected heavily on earnings. Another concern that I have is the stochastics. So we do have space enough to where if we break, we can run. but the stochastics is at 71. So we got about 30 more points before we hit 100. I don't know if that's enough to get us all the way up to 195 before rejecting. So we'll see what happens this week. Again, these are the stocks that are on my watch list. I'm not committed to any of these just yet, but these are the ones that I'm watching for plays and breakouts. And again, I do live trade Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So if you want to see that again, you'll need to be a member of the Discord. I don't do it on Google Meet. I actually do it inside of the Discord on the paid side, which I can show you what that looks like after this call. But yeah, NVIDIA, nice setup. I've been talking to my mentees about this one for weeks, and we'll see what we get. So let's slide back to the 4-hour real quick. And on the 4-hour, we can see that, you know, same thing. RSI is decent. We're slightly above the 20. We need to take that 50 out. And then that stochastics is getting pretty high, 87. MACD is crossed over to the upside. So it's going to be an interesting week for NVIDIA, because whatever NVIDIA does, the market is probably going to follow. But this is one to keep on your radar. Any questions about NVIDIA? Check the chat. Screen, what do you suggest? I've seen FinViz. FinViz works, Kevin, in the chat. FinViz is fine. A lot of people have mentioned FinViz to me. It just depends. But yeah, FinViz is a good if you're using it for screeners. All right, next stock. And we may not get through all of these. It is what, 654. I'm gonna try my best. All right, so this stock is not really too much to look at. This is SoFi. This was one of my top picks for 2025. They asked me in 2024 what would be a good stock to pick, you know, going into this year. And SoFi was one of my top picks. At that time, SoFi was trading between $8 and $10. And now it's been hovering around between $25 and $30. So I think that SoFi, again, going into 2026, still another good pick. Also, they did an offering to where I think the offering was at like $1.5 billion, which pulled the stock back at 6%, which was made the stock be down $1.82, which in my opinion, this is a good buying opportunity for those that like SoFi as a stock, or that are looking for something, you know, with some volatility and growth. I think SoFi next year is going to kill it. I don't like to make guarantees, but I'm pretty sure we're not going to see SoFi. Let's say December of 2026, SoFi is not going to be $27. So that's the way I've been looking at SoFi. I've been loading up on shares and calls and things of that nature. And I think this pullback down to my support that I have outlined right here at 26.59 is a good place to start to just grab shares for a long term. Again, I plan on holding this stock for about maybe 2 to 3 years. I need to see what the next earnings look like. But I'm in this stock for the long run. Again, I mentioned this stock when it was about $8 to $10, and it has been performing well. So this is another one to add to your watch list. I'll keep it moving. Next one, copper. So copper, if you've been in the last, few sessions, I've been talking about precious metals a lot. Precious metals have been outperforming silver, gold, and copper. It's like they almost take turns almost every day of which one is going to pop off. Copper being the one that that has been beating out the others in the last week. Copper was making a really nice bull flag on this chart. Again, strong move up. Let me show you really quick. Strong move from the base, a pullback, and a strong breakout. So this is going to continue. And again, people ask me, what do I think about precious metals in 2026? I think precious metals are going to keep running because the conversation around inflation and the Feds and jobs and things like that, anytime we have high levels of uncertainty, precious metals run, right? So I got copper, gold, and silver running. And again, if you've been in those sessions, you already know the tickers that I have for each. But COPX is a good one for copper, and it has some really nice options that we've been in. So I think those options are up at least 50-60%, somewhere around there. I need to go check my app, but copper is looking nice, and I think that copper is going to continue its run, into the early 2026. All right, next one, United Airlines. So United Airlines, if you've been trading airlines, United Airlines has been killing it. They recovered from their COVID lows. Their COVID highs, which pretty much means the price they were before COVID. So if we look at COVID was where? COVID was back here. They were trading before COVID around the $95 to $98 range. And then they dropped all the way down to like $20, and they finally fully recovered and broken above that COVID high. So right now it's trading at 104. I really like what it looks like on the weekly. I also like the news around the stock. We got a 60 RSI, was a little bit high, but this is the weekly. I'm thinking about grabbing some shares for a long-term swing, but we're sitting right at some resistance. So what I want to see is a break above 110. We get a break above 110, then we can definitely see this MACD crossover happening. And you know, when the MACD crosses over, that means that we're confirming our trend to the upside. Right now, we're technically still coming out of a downtrend, but if we get this blue line over this orange line, we're now in a uptrend. And then also you look at that stochastics, that's really sweet, 38 out of 100 on the stochastic. So it looks really nice. Again, the only thing that's questionable on the weekly is that the RSI is a little high, but again, this is an airline. It's not going to move like a tech stock, but I'm thinking about grabbing some more United Airlines just for a quick swing trade on a breakout. But really like the chart on the weekly, so wanted to add it to my watch list. And the last one, I know we're at 6:59, so I got it all done. Perfect. Last one is Tesla. So Tesla has been fighting his way back up. Tesla dropped all the way down to about 380, 385, then bounced and recovered, broke above both its 50 and 20-day moving average like it was nothing. And it looks like Tesla may be going for all-time high. So again, this week in the market, what we need to watch is the SPY. Again, the SPY moves to the upside. NVIDIA, Google, Tesla, all of them are going to follow, and vice versa. They all carry the SPY. They're all top 10 stocks in the SPY. So we'll see what happens with Tesla. Tesla has a really tough line at 466. If Tesla breaks this 466, Tesla can be going, excuse me, Tesla could be going to all-time highs. All-time highs is a little bit above, I want to say, what, 475, 480, I want to say. Oh, no, actually it's over here. It's at, what, 488, 490 all-time highs on Tesla. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with it, when Tesla gets to this 466, to see if we get a rejection or if we get a breakout. So I'll be watching out for that one as well. But that's all I have. Do I have any questions about any of the stocks that I went over thus far? And we are right on time at 7 o'clock. Let me check the chat. Okay, I do have some questions. Perfect. I got some questions about the mentorship. If you have questions, and let me stop sharing my screen. If you have questions about the mentorship, what I can do is, matter of fact, let me give you my email. My email is here, ladarius18@gmail.com. You can send me an email. The mentorships are one-on-one. We do have group mentorships as well. But if you want a one-on-one mentorship, I do free consultations. You just email me at ladarius18@gmail.com, and we can get a quick call set up. That being said, let me stop the stream. We appreciate your YouTube. And again, if anyone is interested in joining the page,